Ghost Comes to Scarborough by Ben Hopwood. Read by Fiona Galloway.
The thing they don't tell you, it occurs to me now, is how the most beautiful things can turn so unspeakably foul. I knew both Jenny and Marcus, had done since a child. No more charming a couple could you ever hope to find. They were pleasure and grace, honour and good cheer. When both died so suddenly, it was to rivers of tears. No suspicion arose around the cause of their drowning, despite the premature and violent nature of their passing. An accident tragic, unprecedented, alarming, but not suspicious, not strange, nor queer, in any regard. As saddened as we were, we let down our guard. I, for one, had taken on ill, the depth of my sadness being so much as to drop me down low. I took to the seaside, to Scarborough to recover, and read of the strangeness as it hit tabloid front covers. First, on the Thursday, it was reported in the dailies that Thomas, the bride's younger brother, now due to inherit, had been struck by a bus when crossing at Chelsea, had taken a crack to the skull, and died ever presently. More grief, thought I, and was glad I was resting. I sat on the beach and turned page after page of that paper, seeking some respite from the dark news of the day, till my hand came to rest of a sudden on a section of gossip. Two figures, one in gown, one in suit, had been spotted walking and wailing in the moonlit streets by the side of St. Luke's. To those not native, or not in the know, St. Luke's was the chapel where Jenny and Marcus did go. More to the point, as I reviewed the obituary, St. Luke's was in Chelsea, thought I, which in itself was concerning. I rose from my spot and took to a walk, up to the cliffs, then along to the sands, to clear my whirring head and steady my hands. A coincidence, I thought. Just bad fortune and chance, till on opening the papers on Sunday, it was clear at a glance. Another passing, more death. A dancer named Johns, an associate of Thomas who recently had appeared more and more frequently at gatherings and family affairs, had been found drowned. But in this it was odd, for he was found on Albemarle Street, a mile from the river, his clothes quite dry, his body untarnished, but a look of sheer terror etched on his face. Reading this verse, I dreaded turning the page, but before long I found my way once again to the gossip, and lo, there it was, in the margins of print, two spirits, one bride and one groom, their ethereal figures still wet from Thames water, seen wailing and walking amongst the nightlife of London. To my mind there was doubt no more. Poor Marcus and Jenny, their death so abrupt, now stalked London at night in search of revenge on the brother who arranged their vital passing and his lover who enacted the sordid drowning. I placed the paper down resolutely, and as the evening light waned, I made my way, not hotel-wise, but again to the cliffs. I found a remote lookout that stared at the sea. I had always loved calming waves and to be near to the water. I sat as the sun sank, and with its last lingering light, heard at last the sound I had been in fear and affright, that I had been dreading since reading Thursday's first letter. To me, not so much wailing as the singing of a song, of righteous anger, of justice, and the undoing of wrong. I stood by the cliffside and looked down at the water, my heart not within me to turn and observe who I knew most assuredly must now be behind me. Two spirits, one bride, one groom, it must surely be, travelled up from far London to resolve their last business, with the man who had, in idle jest and in mischief, implanted the idea of usurpation in the mind of the poor simple Thomas, who'd introduced playful and corruptible Johns down on his luck to the charming young heir, and spoke often secretly to the willing young pair. My idle machinations, I thought quite remote, now stood either side of me, their eyes ash and smoke. With cold hands of ether they held me in place and caused me to recognise the judgment I now face. For no reason than boredom I had caused all this mayhem, then thought to escape to a holiday by the shore. They took up my body and threw me quite rightly into the surf to let the ocean consume me. And should I, a spirit, return to haunt the cliffs of my death, rest assured now, dear reader, it shall be in naught but in penance, assisting those lost or having taken bad counsel, in recompense of the lives that were lost on account of my actions. And let my short tale stand as lesson to you, to judge what you hear and the person in who is speaking, for even kind words may carry two meanings.